Hello all, welcome you all to DevOps Tech channel. In this video, we will discuss on Terraform basics. So Terraform is one of the tools that enables you to use infrastructure as a code methodology. So when it comes to infrastructure as a code, uh, it enables us to write a code. You can develop a code, and making use of that code, you can create a resource like virtual machine or a Kubernetes cluster. You can update an existing virtual machine, or you can delete an existing resource. So Terraform is one of the most popular tools that comes under the infrastructure as a code methodology. Using Terraform, we can create, update an existing resource, delete an existing resource in the cloud providers. And the resource could be a virtual machine, containers, Kubernetes, and SQL databases, any sort of infrastructure. Okay. And the initial version of Terraform was released in the year 2014. And there were many versions that got released till date. And the most recent version of the Terraform that got released is Terraform 1.4.6. And there is one other alpha version, 1.5. Now we'll move on to the Terraform commands. So in this session, we'll discuss on 5 basic commands in Terraform, namely the Terraform init, validate, plan, apply, and destroy. I'll just give you an overview of what these commands do. When it comes to Terraform init, it is gonna initialize the working directory for the Terraform, and it pulls in all the required dependencies. And next is the Terraform validate. So when we run this Terraform validate, it checks if the configuration file, I mean the main.tf file, is valid, which means it doesn't have any syntactical errors or not. So it primarily checks if there are any syntactical errors in the main.tf file. Next comes the plan. So Terraform plan command enables you to know what operation is going to take place when you're going to run the Terraform apply command. And the Terraform apply command would help you to deploy the resource to the cloud providers. And finally, the Terraform destroy, as the name implies, it is going to delete the resource to the cloud provider. Now we'll look into these commands in more detail in the lab sessions. Now we shall see how we can create a resource group using Terraform. So for that, we can run the commands in the Terraform commands in the command prompt. And before that, I'll show you what they make. So this is the specific directory which I'm going to initialize using Terraform commands. And this is the main.tf file, the Terraform file. So if you see this file, so this is the script that I'm going to use to create a resource group in Azure. So this is the provider. So we call this provider as Azure RM, and it helps to connect Terraform with the Azure platform. And here you see features, right? So in this features, I have left it blank actually. So it is going to incorporate, or it is going to enable all the features for the specific Azure RM provider, which helps Terraform to connect with Azure. Or if you are looking for any specific features, you can enclose it within this section, and those features will be used by the Azure RM provider while connecting Terraform with Azure platform. Okay, so this is the Terraform file. So here, if you see, I have defined the name and value for this resource group, and the location where this resource group will be is east to west. So I have hard coded the values of the variables here. Now, let me copy the directory, and I have already opened the command prompt. Now I'll change the directory. So let's compare the folder structure before and after the execution of Terraform commands. So here in this directory, if you see, we see only the main.tf file. Now we'll initialize the Terraform using the Terraform init command. Okay, so initialization process is taking place and it is looking for the required plugins. Okay. Mhm. Okay. Here, if you see, Terraform has been successfully initialized, right? Now, we'll just minimize this and we'll look at the folder structure. So here we see one folder called Terraform, and the other one is the terraform.log.html file. So this Terraform folder would consist of all the required plugins and the dependencies, and main.tf file remains as such. And this log.html file would comprises of the configuration details like the Terraform versions, Azure RM provider version, dependencies detail, and all those will be available within that log file. And these two, the file and the folder structure will be available in the working directory right after the init command. Okay, now we'll um, execute the validate command. Okay, so the validation operation seems to be successful, and basically this command checks for the syntactical errors in the Terraform files. So if there are any syntactical errors, definitely this validation is going to fail, and we need to correct the syntactical errors in the Terraform file. Once that is fixed, this validation process will go through without any issues. Now we'll run the plan. And if you see, so state file is being created here. Let's go to this section. I think it is still in progress. Basically, what this command does is it just implements an execution plan of how the apply command is going to be like. It just allows us to preview how the infrastructure is going to be deployed using Terraform. Okay, so if you see, it just provides some execution plan here, and the resource that we are creating is the resource group, and here you see the operation. So it is gonna be a create operation. So we are trying to create a new resource group in the Azure, and the location and the name of the resource group have been specified here, right? And here you see in the plan there are two sections: add, change, and destroy. So here we are going to add a new resource, so that it corresponds to add operation, and there is one operation called resource group creation. And if you are modifying any existing resources, that would be available in this change section. And if the Terraform file that we use is gonna delete the resource, that would be seen in the destroy section. Okay. So the plan is also complete. So it just gives us an idea on how the resource is going to be uh, deployed in the Azure. Now we shall run the apply command. This might take 1 or 2 minutes to complete. Okay, so now it is evaluating the execution plan, and it is asking for to enter a value, either yes or no to approve. I am going to enter yes to approve the change. that you see. So it is trying to create a resource group, and the resource group has been successfully created here. Now we shall open the Azure portal and check if the resource group has been created or not in this place. Okay. I have many resource group here and it is not showing up. Let's wait for, this is the resource group which I created. If you see, there is location specified here. Okay, and we haven't attached any resources to this resource group. We just simply created the resource group here. So finally, the resource has been created. And now let me just go to this um, folder structure. And if you see, once the apply command has been executed, right, we can see this terraform.tf state file. So this tf state file consists of the information of the resource which we created just now, right, as a result of the apply command. So we can make use of the state file and create the resources as required. For example, I have created a resource called the resource group now, and this specific Terraform state file can be used in my other environments. And I can use the same state file and run the apply command so that the same state file would be referred and the resource would be configured accordingly. So this way, we can create a virtual machine or a resource group using Terraform. So in this demo, we created a resource group using Terraform commands in the Azure platform. But there should be a question, right? So though we used a provider, it didn't ask for any credentials to log into that Azure platform, right? So I hope you all would have had that question in your mind. So to answer your question, I had already provided the AZ login just uh, before one or two um, uh, trials that I worked on. So if you encounter any issues, right? So the first thing that you need to do is to give AZ login commands, right? So that would pop up a window, browser window, and you need to provide the required credentials so that you will be logged into that Azure platform. And this way it authenticates to the Azure. So I just want to keep you informed on how this authentication flow works when you're trying to execute the Terraform commands. In the previous lab session on creating a resource group, we have hard-coded the value of the resource group name, the region in which a resource group needs to be created uh, in the script itself, right? So that's not the best practice actually. So whenever we write a code, right, for the reusability of the code, it's always better to segregate the main.tf file and the variables in a separate file called variable.tf. So in this way, it really helps us to reuse the code and you can maintain all the variables in one place. So I have rewritten this code the following way. I'll show you. I'll open up the main.tf. So instead of hard coding the value of the variable directly in this section, I am referring a different variable in the var.tf file. So that's how it is. So there is a location.info variable in the var.tf file. So this location is going to refer to that location info variable in the var.tf file. So this is how I configured it now. Now I'll open up the a var.tf file for your reference. So here if you see variable name, so I have provided the variable name for the resource group and the region info for that um, location as well. So I have created var.tf and referring the variables from main.tf file to the variables in the var.tf. So we'll try creating a resource group with this type of configuration using command prompt and Terraform commands. Okay. Now let me change the directory and we initialize the Terraform directory. Initialization is complete. We shall validate it. Validation is also successful. Now let's run the plan command. So this is gonna take a minute or so. And yeah, it's complete. Run the apply command. So most probably this should work now. Like if the resource is not available in the Azure, this Terraform apply command should create a resource in the Azure. And one more hint here, like if the resource is already available in Azure, it will throw an error stating the resource is already available. Okay, now the execution plan has been read and we need to provide yes to proceed further. So it might take a maximum of 30 seconds to 1 minute to create the resource group in Azure. So as I earlier said, I have already passed my credentials using the AZ login method so that it establishes the connectivity to the respective directory in the Azure portal. And now, yeah, here you see, so it has created the resource group. Now let's go back to the Azure portal and check if this resource group is created. RG created using variable file. Okay, so let's go here. Let me refresh this page. There you go. You see this resource group, which would have been created just few seconds back. Cool then. So the resource group was created successfully. Now we will look into how we can use Terraform in Azure DevOps and create the resources in Azure. So basically, we are trying to see the integration of Azure DevOps and Terraform and how we can create a resource in the Azure platform. Okay, so now in the Azure DevOps page, I have created a new repository called Terraform, and I have created a script and I have enclosed that in the main.tf file. So basically, this script creates a resource group and it creates a storage account and associate it with the resource group that we are going to create. So this is what the script is going to do. So just want to give you a glance on the script. So the resource group name and the details that are required to create the resource group like region and storage account name and its related parameters and the provider information is also described here. See, so I have the script ready and I'll try to fetch this script in the Azure DevOps pipeline, and I will create the resource. So this is the flow. And before that, in order to use the task in a pipeline, there is a task called Terraform task. I need to install the extension to make use of those tasks. So for that, you need to click on Browse Marketplace. So once you click on Browse Marketplace, that will take you to the extensions page. There you see. So if you click on this, it is going to land on to the next page that I already opened here. So this is the extension. So if you want to make use of these Terraform tasks, you need to install this extension in your Azure DevOps organization. Okay. So I have already installed that extension in my Azure DevOps organization. So once you install the extension, so you can search for these two tasks. So these two tasks should be available post the installation of the extension. I just want to show you like where you can find these two tasks. Like I just landed on to create new pipeline section, and when I clicked on add, so I searched it with the Terraform uh, content, and I see these two tasks. Okay. Now I'll go to the pipeline, which I already created. I'll just open up the pipelines. There are two pipelines which I created. So I'll open this first and let me click on edit. So I have added this task actually. What I did was I just clicked on add, and when I search for Terraform, first I added the Terraform tool installer. So this is the one. And then I added Terraform. So here you see it has its display name, and this is a simple task, and you have a drop down here, and you can choose whether you need to run the init command, a validate command, plan command, destroy command, something like apply command. Okay, so you can duplicate this task, and you can choose the respective operation that you need to do. Okay, I'll just close this. So first I chose the task, and I have chosen init, and you need to provide the basic information for this task like resource group, storage account, and the subscription details and all those. Then I duplicated the task and I chose the validate command, and you can leave the values. I mean, you can leave it with the default values, and then the plan, and then the apply. Okay. So I have chosen these actually, and I have provided the values for those variables it is asking for. And install Terraform task, right? So basically what this task is, so it tries to install the latest version of Terraform uh, during the pipeline run. For example, if you are using a self-hosted agent and if the Terraform is not installed, right? So making use of this task, you can try to install the latest version of the Terraform. And if you are using Microsoft hosted agents, what if the specific version that you are looking for is not available? All right. So Microsoft hosted agents comes up with a predefined set of tools and softwares. So if you want to install a specific software like the 1.3.5, any such version of Terraform that you are looking for, you can just install that using this step in the Microsoft hosted agent, and you can run this pipeline. So it's all up to you. Okay. So in this case, I have chosen the latest version that needs to be installed. Since I use a self-hosted agent, Terraform is already a part of my mission. So I have disabled this task, and this specific Terraform CI pipeline It's gonna run init command, then validate plan, and then apply command. Okay. Now I'll queue this task. Now I'll queue this pipeline, and let's see if it is gonna create the resource group and the storage account, which I have mentioned in my script. So this might take a 1 or 2 minutes max to create the resource. Now it checks out the repository. Now it is running the init command, and now it is with the validate operation. Okay, now it passes the validation, and now it executes the plan. Okay, plan execution is also complete, and it is trying to apply the changes to the Azure platform. Okay, now we can see that it is trying to add two resources. So it tries to create the resource group named Terraform RG, and then it is trying to create the other resource. So that is the storage account resource, and it is still creating. Cool. So the pipeline had run successfully. Okay. Now we'll check the log. Okay. After 30 seconds, it has also created the storage account name Terraform SASA. Okay. Now let's toggle back to the Azure portal. Okay, this is a resource groups page. I'll refresh now. Okay. So this is the Terraform RG source group. And let's see if the resource is created. Yes, the resource is created here.